I win? What did it win?
You win the respect.
You're telling me an alien wore this?
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, that was a good cut.
Messaging him to mute.
The best graphics you really need, Ultra, of course, and I can probably watch a stream on the side.
Content's gonna look good.
Pretty good, pretty good.
And welcome back to day 2 of the SCC. Still going to be kicking around in North America, but before we jump into there, let me talk to you guys a little bit about our Smite Pro YouTube channel that you saw the little highlight video for. We've got all kinds of great content up on there. Anytime that we bring our pros into the studio, the stuff that we record with them will go up onto that channel. We put things like the recaps and all kinds of other fun behind-the-scenes stuff and action out there. So make sure you're checking out youtube.com/SmitePro for all your behind-the-scenes action here in the Smite Pro League. But as I said, we're still here in the SCC, day number 2, set number 2. It's J-Mac and Trelly this time. We're going to be jumping into the number 3 and 4 seeds from last phase now into this phase. That's the Yomi, Tanuki, and the Xibalba Storm.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think the Storm have had an interesting little career here in the SCC where they were pretty solid holding on to that second seed spot, but then they sort of let it slip through their fingers and then didn't have the best showing when they were trying to, place at Masters. But still a solid squad nonetheless on the Tanuki. They've went through some roster shifts as well, so I think both of these teams have a lot to prove here.
Yeah, I mean, between that support role, now getting a new member there with Leon for the Yomi Tanuki, that's made a little bit of shakeups, but it's also made some improvements to their team. As you can see by the schedule, our first set of the day was the Hounds and the Wardens, and then we have the Tanuki Storm that's going to be taking place now. And then on June 10th, that'll be tomorrow, you can see the Athenian Sages and the Anansi Weavers will be the final of the NASCC sets that we'll be taking part in watching. But not just the Yomi Tanuki having a bit of a shakeup in their roster, we also got to talk about the Xibalba Storm, who at least for this set, are going to be having a substitute playing in. Magic Feet, going to be subbed out from Dame from Newark, who was last seen back in the SCC during his time, played on the Neighborhood during the SPL play-ins, and was able to make some very strong adaptations early on, able to get some very early game rolling pace controllers. Gods like Camazotz, Nemesis were really up in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, I'm curious how the switch up is going to affect the team dynamic, right? Because Magic Feet, largely the facilitator on this squad. We saw he made a lot of waves when he first went into this SCC playing these hard carry style picks. Once the meta shifted away from that, they weren't finding as much success, so maybe that's why they were looking at this changeup. But we'll have to see how Dame is able to, shift up the dynamic of this squad.
We will see. Picks and Bans game number 1 between the Tanuki and the Storm ready to go for you guys. And I think it's very important to actually bring up, the topic of Magic Feet. Whenever he jumped in during the SPL play-ins, the SCC play-ins, he was playing kind of that style with gods like Bastet, Kleena, those gods that were dominant in their respect in that jungle role at the time. Those gods are kind of few and far between now. We don't really see those ones anymore. Dame being able to pick up things like Nemesis, especially with how prevalent she is in the jungle, maybe this could be a positive change-up, at least for the substitute here in this team.
He was also playing the jungle, and I didn't like the chalk jungle too much.
We don't talk about the jungle too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It hasn't found a whole lot of success across the board, let's be real.
Yeah, and right now, you were talking about the Smite Pro YouTube channel. I sat down with the junglers yesterday. There should be a tier list coming up soon. They were talking about, in the jungle specifically, what you should be looking for. Things like the Nemesis, for example. Golden Blade, farming quickly. Chalk doesn't really do that, but the Jingwei and Chernrog being taken away, that's just a test of how good these ADCs are right now. The global presence of Chernobog always going to be something that you don't want to deal with, and just the late game crit chance. But when you ban away all that, there is something you leave open, and it's going to be that Mercury.
Yeah, Mercury, which was banned away all during our first set of the day in both of the games that were played there. Baron does make his way into the bans once again alongside the Nem Jingwei, and as you said, Chernobog, Khepri, and Kumbhakarn. Maybe the interesting one there. We saw a lot of Kumbhakarn during the Masters land kind of pop his way up, especially with how many hunters and auto attackers were finding their way through. So eating a ban there, that opens up the Mercury. On the side of the Yomi Tanuki, the Xibalba Storm will grab Yamoja and Baba Yaga for their first 2 picks.
I love this. I'm going to be honest, I'm a big fan of the Baba Yaga. Whenever I play it, I call it the Traba Yaga just because my name's Trelly and I think it works. But
so you're saying this is your pick?
Well, I'm not saying this is my pick. I'm just saying I've played it so much because stacking is so prevalent, right? Warlock Sash is going to be built more often than not. Charon's going to be built more often than not. Baba Yaga gets those stacks for free. And you're just playing for the late game. If you're playing to get your ADCs online, why not play something like Baba that comes online so hard late game with the Yamoja no less? It's going to be just a lot of safety and setup that you need. But the Tanuki are going to answer back. They're going to grab that Mercury like we mentioned. Sylvanas and AMC, that's going to be a pretty solid. I'm thinking the AMC probably going to be in that mid lane more often than not. That is where the AMC goes. But even though they're just going to have a lot of pressure in that dual lane with the Sylvanas.
Sylvanas, a pick that Leon is no stranger to, has played it in multiple roles I have to highlight there. Did have a mid lane Sylvanas earlier on in the year, has had some support Sylvanas, which is where he's going to be finding his home, at least this time around. Opposite side, though, to try and answer against some of this lack of, I can't really say lack of mobility. Obviously, they've got a Mercury. AMC gets some stuff with his Hive. But maybe a lack of a true
vertical
jump.
mobility.
Yeah, vertical. There we go. Lack of vertical. This Odin going to be locked in. And it's a pick that Uzi has been playing since the beginning of time. When Odin is dominant, Uzi is dominant. Odin maybe not so much right now, but maybe with some of these Glad Shield changes, we might see him a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's just a good, solid pick up into what we're seeing, as you mentioned, the Mercury, the Sylvanas, and the AMC not going to have the best time getting out of the cage. They can all just sort of squat up and break one wall or get a Phantom Shell, but Xibalba is going to be the pick in for the Xibalba Storm, and they banned away the Ult Run. I think that's a smart pick, just in case. They don't know where that AMC is going to be in right now. No real magical damage yet for the Tanuki, so taking that away, making sure you don't have to deal with Sanctified Fields, probably one of the smartest options. It's been a pretty solid counter back into this Yemoja, because whenever the rivers come up, you just drop the fields, and everyone's in slow motion. It's a good time.
If you want somebody to take down a cage really quickly, Jormungandr is definitely one of the best that you can go with.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be locked in for the side of the Yomi Tanuki. A couple of bans over towards the jungle, since they already had theirs. The Dachi Susanoo were taken away, so the Storm have to think a little bit longer about what they want. And then you get to round out the draft with a Ho Yi on the side of the Yomi Tanuki.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a solid answer back to the crit that Xibalba will probably be building, that Atalanta as well. We've seen a fair bit. But Camazotz is going to be the jungle lock-in here. So a pretty, for all intents and purposes, a pretty normal-looking comp from the Storm, right? Just a Guardian in support. You got a Warrior in solo, and then just everything else rounding out. But the Tanuki are going for that more double Hunter with the Mercury in the back, lots of crit, and then double Guardian for their magical damage. I'm expecting Yomi to build a little bit hybrid, trying to help out with that magical damage. But if the Tanuki get to late game, their comp is going to be extremely scary. That Mercury is going to be one-shotting pretty much everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be a dangerous late game that the Xibalba Storm have to square off against it. Game number 1 between the Tanuki and the Storm, ready to go for you guys right now as we jump right in. And maybe I can kind of pose this over to you. We know that Dame is capable of playing this Camazotz. It was one of his favorite picks during the play-ins earlier on to the year. But how do you feel about Camazotz right now in this meta with so many auto-attackers kind of making their strides over in the jungle?
Well, the way that I've been explaining it, and the way that it's been explained to me in the sense of Camazotz is hit or miss, in the sense that Thanatos is also hit or miss, but he's a lot safer. It's not like you throw your Death Sight, the game is over, right? If you miss Vampiric Bats, you can still find some form of success with your other abilities. You have a pretty good get-out-of-jail-free card with Bat Out of Hell being instant now. You can't get bursted on the way up. So I think that Camazotz is a lot easier to execute in that regard, but still, late game, I gotta give the credit. The early ganks have to go to this Mercury, and the late game just carry potential has to go to this Mercury as well. Camazotz is more so going to be looking for those mage kills, looking to set up ganks in solo lane maybe, but in the 1v1, I don't think it's going to be a good time.
Dual lane, Hydrogen and Elion up against a Zen and Ocean. Ocean's already out of Omi. Zen will go in with the dash and tries to get some big autos up against Hydrogen. Elion with some decent body blocks and hits that level 2, so the heal is up. Now at least deters Zen from going any further forward in that lane, but pressure's still up for the Storm.
Yeah, I'm liking the Cal Transcendence build more so on the Xibalba. You have so many abilities that you want to be spamming, so you're able to just get... The mana is not going to affect you as much. Usually we see like a Death Toll being picked up on the Xibalba specifically because you get that mana back when you have the Branching Bolas active. You're going to be losing mana every single auto attack, but Transcendence is going to help out a ton, and I think the Tier 1 Morningstar is probably where Zen is going to be going with that. But given the nature of this lane right now with the Sylvanas and the Yemoja, there's so much healing, it's going to be hard to find a kill unless these junglers show up.
Yeah, it's going to probably be a while before we see something over in dual lane. So then you look over towards mid and maybe even solo lane. Odin, not the easiest god to gank, especially considering that only Hydrogen can get out of the cage without the use of having to use an ultimate or a relic. Snatty would have to expend that World Serpent to get any kind of chase down. So maybe some eyes over towards Joshi, at least for Sada Dragon, but as we know, Mercury's typically the early game, especially pre-5, Mercury's don't often get too involved.
Yeah, especially with the bead start. Usually if you see like a Blink Mercury, maybe you can try and grab someone to go away, but if you do use that dash to try and find some beads and then they get beads, you don't have your escape anymore and you're trying to battle at that point. It's not going to be a fight you really want to take, but given the fact that Tripno is on this AMC, they're probably just going to have infinite mid pressure, right? The clear Baba Yaga, late game, a powerhouse. Early game does not clear very well at all.
And not going towards maybe what we thought with a Warlock staff, maybe instead Charon's Coin has kind of been a very prevalent first item, especially because Baba Yaga can stack that one for free. Every other god in the game, gotta get kills, gotta get assists. Baba Yaga, she just gets to exist and gets free stacks.
Yeah, she just gets stacks for making her house walk, which is kind of mean if you think about it. Like, there's a strat that you do in ranked where you walk all the way over to that castle camp, and then you back, and the house has to go all the way there and then come back, and you get your full passive.
Gotta make that thing run a marathon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're just like, go get me some stacks, and I don't think Baba Yaga ever thanks the house.
I'm sure Baba Yaga has thanked her house. There's no way she hasn't.
I've never heard the voice line.
You know what? That's fair. I guess we've never physically heard it. We can only hope that maybe in secret she's at least been thanking the house for all the work that it's been putting in.
Yeah, I mean, because like Calder and Scotty, you know, Scotty's always saying like, you know, lots of good things about Calder. I don't think Bobby even references the house. She just like yells and just runs around and messes with her little pot. But either way, I think she's going to be coming online a lot later than this AMC would, just because of the nature of how you're going to be building her. If it is going to be that Charon's Coin, I could see maybe even a Doom Orb just for some survivability there, but Charon's Coin is usually what you want to go in that first slot, so not going to be too much damage, whereas Bluestone AMC with Transcendence is going to be online pretty much at level 5.
Dame walked over a ward on his rotation to duo, and Hydrogen and Elion are going to play fairly far back in this lane to make sure they don't get picked off by this Camazotz. Not sure if they know he's still sticking around or not. Dame is just waiting for the perfect opportunity to jump in. Elion at half HP. This might be the perfect time. Blink in by the Camazotz, and the damage on Elion will be good enough. And Zen takes first blood for the Xibalba Storm.
Well, they definitely knew Dame was there, but maybe they thought, like, he's leaving, he'll come back at purple buff. He sat there for so long, so much patience from this Camazotz, making sure, just stepping up a little bit too far. Still level 4 was that Sylvanas, so Elion could not get the knockup off. He had no sort of CC immunity, had to eat the full brunt of those slows, and that's going to spell first blood. And it looks like, yeah, Zen did get credit for that one, so the gold is going to be going a long way there. Stacking Transcendence first before Hydrogen is also going to be a pretty big selling point there.
Yeah, make sure you get your power spike online before the opposition. But even with that first blood and the gold bounty that went to the Storm, the Yomi Tanuki are sitting dead even in the gold and XP department. So all that did was just mitigate the lead that the Yomi Tanuki had been building for them. So superior macro play, at least for the early portion, these first 4 or so minutes, has gone over to Tanuki, especially despite the fact that the dual lane had been so far back and been so far pushed under their own tower.
Yeah, I imagine that's just because of the last hitting going on right now. Again, Baba Yaga not going to have the best clear, where Tripno's probably getting to full clear the wave. Snatty probably going to be clearing the wave pretty effectively right now with that start as well, and the teleport still being able to be used, so Snatty doesn't have to back up just yet. Whenever he wants to back up and finish, maybe the Celestial Legion help, the Jade Emp, there's a few different upgrades from that helmetry that could really help out in this matchup. Usually against something like Odin, that Jade Emperor's Crown is going to be the option, and it will be purchased right away. Uzi, though, immediately gets that Genji's Guard, one of the strongest items, I think, on Odin, because you can reset your cooldowns in the middle of a fight, you can get more cages off, and more cages is a good time. That's pretty much all Odin is, right? Is just a cage, and then he's got some slows and stuns, and he's just going to be annoying. You get multiple shields off, you get multiple cages off. You're really going to be affecting those team fights more.
And really kind of forces the enemy team to maybe think if they need more than just one shell, at least more than one Phantom Shell. Ultimate dropped by Hydrogen to clear up the wave. It doesn't even fully clear that one out, so he's not even going to get all the XP that maybe he was hoping in that left side of the map. Oceans will rotate over just to make sure that he can hold on to that wave for his carry. But as this game is starting to slowly develop its way, it's a very slow-paced game. We've only seen the 1 kill so far, and not any major groupings, at least by the Tanuki, to try and maybe push back the Storm.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be any sort of targeted aggression just yet, except for that one gank that we saw from Dame. But Hydrogen, I think, recognized this is a build that he's went for many times, but I think also recognizing that with that first blood, he's going to be behind in Transcendence that whole game. Beautiful
pull by Elion is good. We'll be able to get the bat out of hell for Dame. Is it enough HP? No, it's not. There was one final tick ready for him. As soon as he lands down, Elion, credit to the kill to find that up against Dame and finally put the Yomi Tanuki on the board. And that's going to put them nearly 1,000 up. Now Dragon rotating over. The shot missed by Hydrogen. Good damage up onto Zen. Still holding on to that Rising Jaguar to get out. And now with Oceans rotating over, no further engaged by the Tanuki.
Okay, wow. First, beautiful pull by Elion. I was so sure that there was going to be enough tick damage there. It looked like maybe Dame was going to be able to get out with his life, but the Wisps and the Wrath of Terra ticked for so long, as well as the Bees, so just a lot of tick damage even up in the air. So great answer there. And then Shadow Dragon immediately heads over to left, uses that grab, and gets the beads down. And my Zen is going to have to watch out because Sonic Boom is still available. There could still be a regank opportunity in that duo lane. And as far as I'm concerned, wherever Leon is, there's probably some beads to be had as well. These pulls, we've only seen one thus far, but more often than not, he's pretty on point with them.
Missed on that one. Camp is at least secured by Leon, who is fighting with Oceans for a single Chalice pickup there. That one, no matter what, at least will go to Leon. Credit to at least the last hit of it. Shadow Dragon going in towards this Golden Blade. It's kind of been the new start, at least for most of these auto-attack-centric assassins, and even warriors who've been seeing this become a very popular item.
Yeah, just trying to farm as quickly as possible, and that's what I'm talking about. Right now, Dame can't really match that. With Golden Blade, rather, you have so much movement speed, you can get across the map as quickly as possible, and you also have to auto the camps like just twice. You hit the big minion, the side camps get cleared as well, and that's why we're seeing Shadow Dragon get so active on the map right now. Remember, and my Zen's beats are down, but nowhere even in lane at the moment is that Xibalba. So Shadow Dragon not going to be able to find any sort of Sonic Booms in this duo lane. Maybe going to have to head over to mid or just sit around for those Oracle Harpies because there's no real gank to be had just yet.
While it has been fairly slow of a start for this game, Elion walking up needs one good pull and actually will manage to catch Joshi. That's going to get the beads and the ultimate out of the mid laner. Joshi pushed far back, but now cutting off the path at least is the Xibalba Storm. Shadow Dragon will find Joshi. Trip no low, Trip no gone thanks to the help of Dame. And Shadow Dragon dashing in towards the lane. Doesn't have that Sonic Boom available. The stun is good, and one more hit by Zen to take him down. Cage dropped by Uzi. Told a few in, and the Suns will rain down some good damage, but not enough to deter the Storm. They're still pushing in. Elion low, and the Bat out of Hell not going to be enough damage out of Dame. Even that third swipe wouldn't have gotten the kill, so now the Xibalba Storm had to find a path out.
But Snatty still has the World Serpent here, trying to find Uzi, but I don't think any more damage is going to result in a kill, so we'll just have to use that last tick just to get out of there. Elion lives with a sliver of HP. There was a good rotation there by pretty much everyone, right? You don't expect to see a 5v5 in that mid lane just off of one pick, but plenty of damage, and you get 2 kills onto Zen, so this Xibalba is going to be absolutely swinging. And they had a good combo, right? When you get the cage and you got circles on circles, the Suns inside of that own cage was plenty of damage, but right now with Hydrogen's build, not going to be doing that much, pretty much eating all of the Suns. It's just dominance. It wasn't enough damage to find too much answers back. I think the biggest shutdown there will be on the Shadow Dragon, though. A kill onto this Mercury who got up to a pretty nice start, is now going to be a little bit stalled right now, probably building into Rage. Won't be able to build that just yet, and now it just has to go back to farming.
Yeah, I was going to say, before that teamfight happened, with how slow-paced the game was going, a Rage second item maybe would at least be something good to pick up to, wait for those team fights to go through. But now that Shadow Dragon got a little bit more golden pocket, he will pick up a Rage. So already got some crit online early and can start getting those stacks just as quickly.
Yeah, and it looks like Josh already has 6 stacks on that Charon's coin. So the house and just the 1 assist that he's got naturally is going to be going quite well. I see Shadow Dragon charging up that Sonic Boom in mid, but sitting at that tower line, unless that pull from Leon comes through, I don't think he really wants to ult into that tier 1 tower right now. Remember, towers were buffed in 9.5, and they will start swinging. Just 2 shots is enough to make sure that Mercury's like half HP, maybe even 1 shot at that point.
Leon's a man after my own heart when it comes to Sylvanas. Sure, you can go for the easy setup, the easy pull, your root, then you pull because you get the guaranteed target with that. But just go for the pull. Why not? Just throw it out there, see if you grab something. Then you've always got the root after if you want to go with something more. So I put the respect towards Leon for at least trying to go for these pulls with no setup. Only found a couple of them so far, but those couple have been able to turn the tides for this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's a confidence play, right? When you see the root, you get the beads. But when you hit the pull, sometimes the beads is late that you still displace. They come about halfway and then beads late, and you're like, you still can't be able to, counteract that. And then we saw how much it was able to displace Joshi. Again, even with those beats coming in a little bit late, going into the home sweet home, it wasn't enough. So these free pulls are going to be helping out a ton more as long as Leon's able to consistently be hitting those. Looking at the gold lead here, the Yomi Tanuki are still about 800 gold ahead. Not really looking to push for any objectives. We've seen one 5v5 fight in mid off of a pick, so more like a 4v5. And no one really feeling too confident. The Pyromancer hasn't been looked at, and Gold Fury still sitting pretty. No one's really going to be pulling that just yet either.
even with that experience, also sitting dead even. No real significant leads across the board for anybody. Maybe about half level of the Hunters is the biggest one out of all of them. Some good damage up against Tripno. Dame walks in, Tripno low, bat out of hell from the Camazotz. Will be mitigated by the shell coming through from the support. Tripno's got the juke boots, but not far enough, because those fire shots are chasing down. Dame low and a sonic boom will have set up for a kill for El Leon to grab, but it's going to be another kill going down. Sada Dragon falls to In My Zen. Snatty jumps into the middle of 4, but not much further will this Jormungandr go.
Yeah, he has the cage here and will be able to find Zada, or Hydrogen rather, but jumps out, and I think the Suns will be the stopping of aggression here. Xibalba Storm get their picks, and they're going to get out. They did lose Dame in the process, but I imagine they're pretty happy with that. Still not quite in the lead gold-wise, but they climbed ahead 5-3 for the kills.
Now Yomi Tanuki will back up, and maybe some of the downsides of the cage that we did see there. You know, we talked about it during the picks and bans with Jormungandr able to shred through that between Snatty and El Leon. Those cage walls only lasted about a second before they were down at that fight.
Yeah, I thought because we saw Uzi there, I was like, oh, it's a 4v3, the cage is coming through. Then just, nope, the cage is going to be gone. El Leon gonna have to put on the juke shoes here. Not gonna be too worried. Joshy has that full stack Carl's coin and Divine Ruin, but not really enough damage to shred through this Sylvanas right now, especially with the Spirit Robe finish. Anytime Oceans finds a stun onto the Sylvanas, he won't be taking too much damage. Finally, though, the Pyromancer is getting looked at here. Snatty and Sada Dragon are aware of this, though.
It's 4 versus 2 around the objective. 2 more from Tanuki on the way. Pyromancer low. Pyromancer does go to the Storm, but Snatty is still up in the front line, down to half HP on the Yorm. The cage drops from Uzi. The wall is already broken right away. Uzi's got a beads to get away from his own defensive cage. But the Xibalba Storm get the objective and they get out.
Yeah, they will be able to get the Pyromancer and leave, and now the Yomi Tanuki have to find some form of success anywhere else. Are they going to go for this tier 1 tower? Nope, they're still around, and Dame is not going to be giving this one up, still farming around the side. Will they try and pull this gold for here? Also not going to be the best option. Those oracles were already done by Zen before he backed up. So at this point, you just got to back up and say, all right, they got the Pyromancer. We really can't find anything else. There is a Trebuchet on this left side tower, and it looks like Hydrogen is doing his best to try and push it up. But with that rotation from pretty much everyone from the Storm, they are going to have to back up and give that one up. So no tier 1 towers for the Yomi Tanuki. And now the Xibalba Storm have a small lead, but the gold is in their favor now.
And Trebuchet won't get much value there,
Nice.
at least out of the Yomi Tanuki. 300 gold and 200 XP separate these two teams. So 15 minutes in, for all intents and purposes, a dead even game, despite the fact that the Storm do have a couple of kills in the lead up over the Yomi Tanuki. Now building towards more crit, at least for this jungler, for Snatty, or for Sada Dragon, I should say. The Yomi Tanuki pulled the Gold Fury, but with 2 people from the Storm standing by, they're not going to keep that going any further.
Can you imagine if Snatty could build crit? Just Yorm,
Terrifying.
Yorm,
well,
just
if
critting.
somebody on his team gets Fail Not, then he could theoretically crit.
Yeah, but I just want to see like a Yorm breath where every auto crits, you know, just like every single little tick.
It's going to crit for like, what, 50 damage maybe on somebody?
I mean, with the Osiris builds I've been seeing some 50 damage crits from like ADCs with penetration.
True. That's
so
true.
Yeah, it wouldn't be too far of a stretch. But right now, I don't think there's going to be anyone critting for that little damage. Right now, I imagine Sad Dragon's being able to hit pretty hard, and Uzi does have a fair bit of physical defense, but just the Glad Shield right now, once that Spectral or Breastplate gets built, I think there's going to be a lot more protections helping out against the double crit of Sada Dragon and Hydrogen. Obviously, Tripno just going for a more ability-based build with this AMC, just going for red items and as much penetration as possible. With that Stinger shredding the protections, again, for all of these physical damage dealers on the side of the Yomi Tanuki, going to be a pretty solid spot here, but no one really wanting to pull this Gold Fury. The Pyromancer is okay to gamble. It's not worth too much right now, but that Gold Fury would definitely put one of these teams in the lead.
Oh, we see 3 shells picked up by the Xibalba Storm. 1 for the support. That's not out of the ordinary, but both of them for the carries on Xibalba Storm, making sure that there's at least somebody who can try and get in that cage. None of them upgraded to Phantom Shell yet, but actually, wait, no, they don't have to worry about getting out of any kind of cage. 3 shells?
Yeah, there's no Burst Mage, right? You're up against 2 Hunters and a Mercury, so you can say, hey, we don't need Aegis. We're just going to stack up our shells here. Zen is going to walk back into lane, but Sad Dragon has already given up on this gank. The Sonic Boom is no longer charged and going to be trying to find farm elsewhere. But yeah, I think one of them No, they all just could be fortifying shell, honestly, and then just anytime you're trying to get damage out with these auto attackers, it's going to be a hard time. Leon, though, at the front of this fight, any one of these pulls could start the engagement. It will just be a back off. The solo laners are also making the rotations over. Maybe Gold Fury will finally be looked at here. Neither one of these teams ready to pull it just yet.
Especially with Oracle Harpy splitting, there'll be no vision control. So maybe one of the teams to try and go for that, knowing that the other one has to have some kind of ward coverage to see that it's happening. Still, all 10 players grouped up towards this mid-left side of the map. SaturnDragon will be able to go back and pick up his speed. Uzi drops the cage only onto Snatty, and that's not going to get a whole lot. For now, it's just an obelisk picked up by the Xibalba Storm throughout all of it.
Yeah, and looking at the XP right now, that pull a little bit off the mark. In my Zen level 17, 3-0 on the Xibalba. That he's going to be absolutely swinging right now. We can see the Storm are grouped up around this tier 1. They're not ready to pull this gold here. They want to try and find a fight. They want to try to find someone a little bit out of position. Now, finally, they will go back as Uzi takes a little bit of poke here, but the gold fairy will finally be pulled by the Storm.
This is a very interesting build path kind of coming out from both. We'll talk about that more as Leon caught inside the River's Rebuke. Doesn't have a way to get out, eats the damage, gets the knockup on 3, but it's not going to save his life. Joshi, credit to the first kill of the fight. Tripno low, and Tripno should go down to one more swing from Dame. Up into the World Serpent is Snatty to try and do some zoning, but he's not zoning the right people out. Gets some good poke back out there. And the Yomi Tanuki able to get out with only losing 2.
Yeah, SaturnDragon was 1 HP though. That could have been much worse, and now the Gold Fairy will be pulled, and that should go down fairly quickly by the Storm. And it looks like Dame is going to be looking around the right side of the map just in case any cheeky... I mean, there's no way they could pull Fire Drive, but just in case, trying to make sure no sort of farm gets invaded on that right side of the map. I think that's a great play by this Camazot, saying, hey, our camps are our camps. You cannot come in and invade these. Even though we have 4 on Gold Fear right now, I'm going to make sure our blue buff, our speed, and our backs, respectively, are all going our way. But great engage there by the Storm. Just, I don't think Tripno can ever live in these fights. Leon, whenever he gets caught out, too much CC is going to go down. The Wrath of Terra can't set up if you don't have the damage to follow up with it. It's just not going to be... Sylvanas is one of those characters that if your team's not being commanding and going in with you, you're just going to be left out to die.
And with the fact that only 1 Phantom Shell is picked up for the Tanuki so far, use it for Uzi's cage. All right, cool, you get out. Problem is, there's still the River's Rebuke, which is what Leon got caught in at the tail end there. Tanuki will answer back to that Gold Fury with a Pyromancer of their own, and that keeps them in this game. Just under 2,000 gold separating the 2 teams. Xibalba Storm with that golden XP lead. And now maybe catching out Leon, slowed down by the potion. Hip in, Dame goes to the back line, finds some good shots. Up against SaturnDragon, the age is gone, the cage is down, and SaturnDragon has no way out. It's Joshi with the kill up against the jungler.
Snatty has to go up into the World Serpent just to get out as well. Without Zen here, I don't think Fire Giant will be looked at just yet. That Xibalba is heading over to mid. That Trebuchet is there as well, so maybe just a mid-tower siege as we see a little 1v1 skirmish in the jungle, just going to be getting the Xibalba beats down, and now my Zen is able to help out. And it looks like Snatty teleported back in, but this tower's gone.
Yeah, this tier 1 is gone, maybe even more. River's Rebuke does catch 2 of them. They can't find a way out, and there's no escape for Tripno. There's no escape for Leon. It's a double kill for Joshi, his 3rd one in just this short skirmish of fights. And with tier 1 gone, Trebuchet still here, tier 2 will be a foregone conclusion.
No, there's no Ares in this game.
You're really going to do that to me right now.
You kept saying there was no escape. I saw a good River's Rebuke. Anyways, the Phoenix will be looking at you. That Trebuchet is still alive and swinging. They may be looking to go for this Phoenix here, but they don't have the minions. SaturnDragon and Hydrogen are able to clear these away. So I think the Phoenix will stand tall, and they won't have to defend their fire minions just yet. About a 4,000 gold lead in favor of the Storm. They've been pretty commanding ever since that first Gold Fury. Now they will just be able to back up, retreat, spend some of that gold. I imagine they have to be looking at this Fire Giant now.
I do see Uzi picked up a Spectral Armor first between those 2 options that you were highlighting before, and maybe now towards a Breastplate of Valor for his next item up. In fact, we're seeing another Spectral Armor, so trying to answer back to the double crit that's built up on the side of the Yomi Tanuki. Both Sata and Hydrogen are doing a little bit less to not only Uzi, but also Dame now.
Yeah, you wanted to touch on the fact that Hydrogen just went into Deathbringer there, and it looks like the Tanuki are trying to pull this Fire Giant, immediately spotted out by Uzi, and will just have to back off there. I don't think they, in any world, are able to pull that just yet. They have a fair bit of DPS, but just the fight after the fact, even if you get FG and you lose 3-4, maybe even a deicide, it's not going to be worth it. I think the Tanuki recognized that immediately and are just able to back off. Again, whenever I'm looking at this Xibalba, the positioning tells me everything. Zen is on the left side of the map, so Fire Giant is not going to be looked at for the Storm right now. Wanting to get level 20, upgrade that cowl. I think that's going to help out the DPS and the survivability, but it looks like the Fire Giant is being pulled once again.
Fire Giant started, but with Uzi and Dame here, the Tanuki are not comfortable with starting up this pull. They'll go ahead and leash that one back with the rotation from the Xibalba Storm. But with Zen still on the left side of the map, not much of a chance for the Storm to start it up themselves. Best chance for them would be to try to go for a steal.
Yeah, someone's pinging the Xibalba right now. They know Zen is in that left side of the map, but they really can't force anything right now. Just sitting here, letting your towers go down, letting that Xibalba free farm has got to be annoying, but you don't have any sort of avenue back into this game right now. Where are you looking to get aggressive? If you're looking at relics, nowhere. Everyone has everything up except for Zen, who's got 10 seconds on those beads, and we've already mentioned he's way too far away to find right now. So the Tanuki essentially just have to sit around while they get less behind in farm. I mean, more behind in farm, rather. They're getting less farm, but more behind in farm, and they can't force anything. We've seen them try to pull this FG twice, sort of a Hail Mary play right now, 22 minutes into the game, but they just don't have the DPS or the safety to go for it. Now, the Xibalba is rotating over, and now 5 grouped are the Xibalba Storm at this Fire Giant.
And we see the first of the 3 shells maxed out, the fortifying core Oceans. Snatty goes in to try and stop this Fire Giant that's got taken down to half HP. He'll at least slow down the Storm, but as he goes to the backline, finds 3 inside the cage, gets the Phantom Shell out, but a good double stun from Oceans will slow down the Yomi Tanuki. Still fairly healthy, aside from Dragon, who ate some good poke there from Joshi. Snatty still at the front line for his team. Sonic Boom charged in the back by Dragon. He's looking for a perfect line to try and get to that back line, but won't find it just yet.
Now Leon blinks him, and already the lights go off. Dragon's getting very weak, and there's going to be an engage here. Joshi goes into the home.
Now Leon does get some good CC out there. Hydrogen low, and the Rivers Rebuke are now through. 2 players stuck inside. Snatty doing his best to hold them out, but they can't hold enough for Tripno. He goes down, and Leon should fall shortly behind. With Dame going in, we'll find the double kill, and it's 2 gone on the Tanuki.
And now everyone is going to have to retreat here without the World Serpent. Snatty cannot stand here, and it looks like the Xibalba Storm are also going to back, immediately reset, get their HP, and then run right for this Fire Giant. Uzi, pretty healthy right now, doesn't really have to leave, and now we're seeing Dame picks up that Bumba's Hammer as well, so this should be a pretty easy Fire Giant pull for the Xibalba Storm, unless there's some miracle steal here from Snatty. Snatty is heading over towards that FG, but I think recognizing immediately, I don't have my get-out-of-jail-free card with that World Serpent. I'm going to just farm up the left side of the map, get a Primal Fury, get some sort of consolation prize right now, because there's no way anyone can step up to this objective.
Find something out of nothing more than anything. Primal Fury stopped because both of them on the Tanuki for the carries were a little too low to tank that one up. So Fire Giant for the Xibalba Storm, Primal Fury for Yomi Tanuki. I don't have to do the math to tell you the Xibalba Storm definitely got the better end of that trade, plus some extra farm. Tier 1 tower in solo goes down, and with 4 players of the Storm grouped up on here, this should be a Tier 2 tower. Maybe a little bit more if the Tanuki are too slow to get back to base.
Yeah, it looks like no one's going to be spotted on minions or anything, so I can't imagine the Storm are too confident in pulling that Phoenix. And because, again, no one was really clearing waves, now they are able to keep pushing because they recognize everyone back, and it's time to get as much farm as possible. Try to get any sort of power spike you can find right now. Dragon very close to level 20. Hydrogen also very close. Both a level off. If they could get an upgrade to these starter items, they could get just one more upgrade to the build. Leon also is 1 level away from 17, so these upgraded starter items would go a long way here. There's just not enough farm, not enough safe farm, I should say, on the map right now. No one wants to push up to that wave given how close Dame was. I don't think they had any way of knowing he was there, but if they do get caught out, a lot of damage coming from this Camazotz right now, and it looks like the siege will begin. Left side tower will be taken down shortly as Dame pushes up that mid wave, making sure that someone has to clear out these minions on Phoenix.
Ozzy's just going to steal away a couple of chalices, try and get some of those offerings back towards his team, while the rest of the squad will push up the 2 towers in the left lane, so no more structures left aside from the Phoenixes for the Yomi Tanuki to defend on. They're going to have to take their stance on the Phoenixes, but it's only 4 members of the Storm on this left side. Junglers for both teams are going to be holding out in that mid lane 1v1. So far, those have been favoring Dame. Dragon hasn't been able to find too many crits just yet in 1v1 trade-outs. Dame will start getting his damage up on the Phoenix, while the Tanuki, or I should say the Storm, are waiting for their chance on the left side. Satadragon low, but the bats miss out of Dame, and the fight starts in the left side of the map. Senati caught out inside the rivers. The Shell will make sure to get him out. And with the suns raining down, the Tanuki are able to hold back the Storm. Sonic Boom in the backline from Satadragon, but the left side Phoenix is already gone, and so is Satadragon, as he has nothing left to defend himself. From the onslaught of Joshi, Tripno low, and Tripno gone. Uzi dashes right in and takes him down. Elion, half HP, and slowed down. A good root will only hold out for a little while longer. Joshi finds the double kill, and the Xibalba Storm in one final team fight now have to hold themselves up against 2 and the Titan. Good knockup from Snatty will slow things down, but the Titan is falling low, and the Yomi Tanuki will go down in game number 1. Xibalba Storm with a nice win.
Yeah, just no way they had the DPS there. 3 members of the Storm go undying, really only finding kills onto Joshi very early on, and Dame just going a little bit too aggressive without bat out of help, but just dominant performance there from the Storm. Once they got that first gold free, remember, it was a bit of a juggler. There was no one really pulling anything just yet, about 11 minutes in. Finally, it looks like the Storm was able to find a solid fight, got that gold fury, and then did not stop the gas pedal ever since that point.
I mean, one of the questions we had going into the game was, is the sub of taking Magic Feet out for this one and putting Dame in going to maybe hinder the Storm? The answer to that one, at least for this first game, is a no. Dame able to step up for his team and find some success on the Camazotz jungle, something at least that I kind of questioned maybe if it was going to be able to hold out against these auto attackers, against this Mercury, and it does. And with that, Xibalba Storm take game number 1. We'll take it to a quick break, and we'll come back for game 2. Welcome back to the NASCC. Xibalba Storm able to find themselves a nice victory in game number 1 to get themselves off to a good lead in this set up against the Yomi Tanuki. And it was a bit of a slow burn to kind of start this game out, Trelly. I mean, it was very slow pace, get a kill around, what was it, 5 or so minutes. And then we saw a massive, 5v5 group up in the mid lane after a single pick that went the way. And then from that point on, Xibalba Storm were able to hold on to their lead and really be able to push it.
Yeah, it seems like they found that early kill right with where Enmaizen got the kill on Leon on the Xibalba, and the Xibalba just never stopped with that lead. It was a solid 3-0 at that point, 2 levels ahead, pretty much all game. hi-rez was not able to match that pressure in lane. It just seemed like the duo lane from the Tanuki really couldn't come back from that one. Snatty was still able to stay pretty even and find some pressure on this Jormungandr, but with Uzi's cages being so potent, again, only one Phantom Shell was being used, as we mentioned, and it was just a little bit too much. Once the one Phantom Shell was down, they had the River's Rebuke to catch everyone after the fact.
And plays like the River's Rebuke that we saw at the very beginning of the highlight is reasons why that this god is still banned, even though all the nerfs that have come this god's way, whether it be cooldowns on ultimate, whether it be amount of healing that she gives, or how potent her CC has been. This god still stands the test of times when you can make plays like Oceans was able to in this game. And then we got to take a highlight over towards Joshi on this Baba Yaga, able to put out so much damage throughout this game.
I really hope she thanked the house after this one.
Hopefully.
Because it did lots of damage throughout, and this is what I was talking about. Didn't find that much success early on, but that's not what Baba Yaga wants to do as a character. She wants to get online, get these stacking items, and then just start pumping out tons of burst damage as the game goes on. At 27 minutes, as you see, able to pretty much just half health anyone with those potions. You get 2 of them. You can keep one in your back pocket if you need, and then just throw them out whenever you want. So I think a solid pick there, but you highlighted the Emoja. I think if you're not first pick, the Tanuki have to ban that one away. It's just too strong.
Yeah, 100%. We'll take a look at the post-game stats. Joshi 7-1 on the Baba Yaga. A lot of that coming in the latter half of the game. That 3-0 start that Zen got to, well, he didn't go much further with the kills, but definitely stacked up those assists. 11 to his name at the tail end of it. Oceans with the perfect support slash line of the 0-0 with 15 assists. And Joshi topping out the damage charts with his Hunter right behind him in Zen. So the Xibalba Storm able to get things going here in game number 1. But if you're the Yomi Tanuki, you already talked about maybe take this Umoja for yourself or ban this one away if you are in that first pick or maybe in that second pick slot. But what else do the Tanuki need to do to try and adapt to the Xibalba Storm team?
I think that could be a solid place to start, right? Look at some duo lane pressure, play through Elion on this Umoja, or again, take it away and just find any sort of pressure that you can, because that's really what they like to see. The small bits of success that we saw from the Tanuki were off of some great pulls from Elion, the Sylvanas.
We will see if some changes are made. Game number 2. Picks and bans ready to go for you guys. We'll jump right into those and see what change-ups the Tanuki have made. They are in that second pick slot this time around, so if the Yomi Tanuki have done a little bit of homework and realized maybe where some of the struggles were game number 1, maybe we see a Umoja ban out of that team. At least to start things out, though, Xibalba Storm will take away the Kuma card. Yeah,
always going to be a smart pick in a meta like this when you want to play through your ADCs or just assassins in general. Kuma is a great just stop. There's just no sort of aggression. You blink in, I'm mezzing you. I can take one person out of the fight for such a long time. The Chernobog also going to be banned away. This global presence, not one we deal with. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Jingwei ban follow suit if that isn't something that you want to first pick. But all of these bans, pretty run-of-the-mill stuff that we've seen more often than not in this meta right now.
Yeah, Nemesis Baron, and there's the Umoja actually going to be a first ban instead by the Xibalba Storm, recognizing that it's probably not the one that they want to first pick and not wanting to give that one up over to a second pick to the Tanuki. So some new change-ups, at least in the dual lane, will have to be made for the Xibalba Storm. Last ban is going to continue to be that Jingwei, who still, even despite some losses earlier on in the day, still shows that she is one of the top hunters to really have to deal with.
Yeah, I just think getting the free crit is too much, and the safety that kit brings you don't want to deal with. The Mercury, notably, is still available, but it doesn't scream to me a Dame pick right now, and it looks like they just want to get Joshi back on the Baba Yaga. I've got no problems with that. 7-1 top damage in the game was relatively safe after that first death. So as long as you're not getting pulled in by Sylvanas, should be pretty fine. So it's going to be a smart first pick there for the Storm, and now it's time for the Tanuki to answer back again. I think playing through that duo lane will be pretty solid, but also getting Snatty, or you could get your jungler on the clean as well. More so we see it in that solo lane. Sad Dragon certainly could pilot it as well, but I think for my money, probably going to the jungle. I mean the solo lane rather.
Probably so. That has kind of been the more situated role for that god at the very least. Xibalba going to couple alongside the Kalina, so we're going to at least see some of the damage dealers on the side of the Yomi Tanuki. We'll have to see as the draft goes on if that Kalina does slot itself over towards the jungle or if it does make its way back into their more traditional home of the solo lane. But we did see a few nerfs come to Kalina with this bonus patch, a little bit less damage on her 1 and her 2. So it's going to hurt her DPS just a little bit, but even still, I mean, with how prevalent things like Soul Eater have been, probably no surprise that she's still sticking around.
Yeah, and with that lock-in, this tells me Ozzy didn't care if the Odin was good in that last draft. He just wanted to play Odin because it doesn't scream to me that it's that good into this draft. Kalina can obviously just go into the wall. Xibalba is going to have a tough time, but Ozzy just wants to play Odin. Ozzy's always had his 3 or 4 signature picks that he's going to play no matter the meta, and he's just going to be able to run that one back. But Serket is going to be the lock-in here. We have seen it played in support a little bit recently, so maybe could be going the way of Leon, but I'm assuming that's probably the jungle Serket and the Kalina solo. They're holding on to that Guardian support pick.
Yeah, gonna hold up for the Tanuki. Second round of ban starts up. First one taken away is going to be Fafnir, recognizing there could be a lot of auto attack damage coming out and a lot of objective shred, at least for the Xibalba Storm. So the Tanuki will at least take Oceans out of a little bit more comfortable pick for himself. Already going to be 3 down. And now with this bonus patch out, that does mean that Yu Huang is available for play amongst these teams. I'm maybe a little surprised that we are seeing a ban of him. I'm not sure exactly where a lot of the pros and the high-level players are putting some priority towards this one, but it seems, at least for the Storm, strong enough to warrant a ban.
Yeah, I think it's possible they just didn't want to deal with the safety, or they're just, they had a throwaway ban, and they're like, hey, Yu Huang could be an option. We don't know how to deal with it. We haven't faced it, and that's one of those ultimates that's very difficult to play around because you don't want to use your Aegis every time. Sometimes you could be pushed away, you could be pushed towards, they could be pushed together. There's a lot of different play styles there with Yu Huang, but Xing Chen is going to be the option here. Going to be always a solid answer to some of these auto attackers. Also has a lot of displacement with Whirlwind of Rage and Steel, so I think a solid pick there, and that more often than not will be going toward the support role. So I think the way we sort of figured this draft was going to be going still looks solid here, but Uller is going to be locked in here, I'm assuming, for Zen in that duo lane. We see Uller mid so much, it's strange to see him in that duo lane, but that's, I think, where he belongs more often than not with that Bluestone start, just going to be able to out-pressure anyone, and Terra also going to be following suit. So Oceans, that's going to be a solid kill lane, I would say. Level 2, they're going to be coming out swinging. Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot of CC drafted amongst the side of the Xibalba Storm. Yomi Tanuki will round out their draft with a new walk. God, that we saw a few times pop our way up into Masters. Saw some success, mostly out of, I believe, Moswell and Zeros for 2 of the players that were going for that pick a couple of times. Found some decent games out of that one. The Yomi Tanuki kind of now looking at their drafts, probably safely assume that the Serket will be making her way over towards that jungle to clean a solo and then Xing Shen's support, as we were talking earlier on. Very standard set of picks coming out of the Xibalba Storm. Maybe the weirdest one out of all of them is seeing Uller back in the dual lane, as we've been so accustomed to seeing him more so in the mid and solo as of recent.
Yeah, so I think we'll probably see a little bit of pressure in that dual lane.
Yeah. Game number 2 now between the Xibalba Storm and the Yomi Tanuki. Xibalba Storm up 1-0 in the best of 3, so Yomi Tanuki, we got to do a lot of fighting here in game number 2 if they want to keep their chances alive and make it into game number 3. The Xibalba Storm were able to get the ball rolling a little bit early in game number 1. It's J-Mac Shirley and Doug one more time in game number 2 of our set. And looking across the board, I'm seeing immediately 3 blinks out of the Xibalba Storm.
It looks so cool seeing that Zen has his ult already. Like no one else in the game has their ult, but in my Zen is ready to just switch stances at any moment. He's the only one with the diamond available. But yeah, 3 blinks on the side of the Storm. We're looking to see some aggression out of Dame on this Mercury. Remember, Sad Dragon had the Mercury last time, went for the beads, a more safe route. Even up against the Serket, that shows either an overwhelming amount of confidence or Dame wants to ignore the Serket and stay away from her entirely because so much CC, so much lockdown. If you get like Serket kissed into a minion explosion, you are getting 100-0'd more often than not. So Dame's going to have to play this Mercury pretty well early on.
I do see some, at least early damage coming out from Snatty to put some pressure up onto Ozzy. Well, we all know with Odin, it usually takes a couple of levels before he's able to get some good clear up in the lane. Now, CC onto Zen will get the beads very early on, forces the leap out of the Uller. Now with that safety gone and no other CC meeting the kit, and my Zen a prime target for the Tanuki to focus.
Yeah, if Oceans doesn't clear those minions there, I think in my Zen 100% dies, but able to tick over to level 2, jump away at the last second because Oceans just stabilized and said, hey, I'm not going to body block autos, but I'll kill these minions so you can jump, and I think that'll be even more appeal. So it works out, which is then already pretty much full HP now with a fair bit of sustain built in and the health pot, multi-pot ticking, so just the beads is going to be the loss there, and still not too much aggression from what we assume the Xibalba Storm, right? You have the stun, the Ularax, and the clap from Terra. I assume that would be a lot of just aggression there, but Elion wants to get active in this lane early with that axe just setting up so much. I imagine they're going to keep doing that.
Ozzy, half HP in the solo lane up against Snatty. The Clean has been able to get some pretty good pressure up against them. Ozzy will find at least a stun onto Snatty and try and match some of that early clear. Oceans will walk up to try and see if he can maybe take this Harpy away, but the Yomi Tanuki are holding on to it. Ocean doing everything he can to try and confirm it, but he will not. That Harpy will go the way of the Tanuki and get them a little bit more farm.
Yeah, Zen just like sat there and watched. Like, yeah, Oceans, maybe I'll come help, but also I don't want to miss any minions. You're very far away from the wave if you are over there in that castle camp. But Joshi could have got kissed out of the escape there. That's one of the most difficult escape abilities to use when someone like Cirquet is around, because you get mitigations when you're in the pot, it still goes on cooldown if you get silenced out of it or stunned out of it in this case, or taunted out of it, I should say. And it's very annoying. But it looks like Joshi was able to juke that one out, and we'll be just going back. The red buff will spawn in, but if Dame's not here to help, no way Joshi can clear that by himself. Baba Yaga with that build cannot battle a red buff by himself.
Yeah, and Elion not able to steal the purple buff away on his attempted invade. Zen and Ocean's able to secure that one for themselves and make sure that Zen can keep up at least his farm. Still 50 seconds on his beads, but not really anybody within level 5 yet to try and make a rotation over. Dragon could, once they hit level 5, make a rotation to dual lane and try and put some pressure on Zen, but with not much time left before those beads are back up, Zen should be fine in lane.
Yeah, as long as Zulu's not stepping up past that halfway point in lane, probably not going to see any sort of aggression from anyone on the Tanuki right now. And it looks like maybe Dragon's trying to find something in solo right now. Uzi does have Blink, so no beads available. The CC could be deadly. Right now, just fighting over Totem. I don't think he knows Sada's here.
Will jump over the wall as soon as he does spot out Sada. Snatty able to throw it down one of the veils to get some clear up on the wave. So no engage, at least on the right side for Sada. Maybe something on the left side with Elion taking some poke from Oceans. Finds a double stun with the walls, but the Hail of Arrows misses from Zen. The Axe Toss does hit. Shell gets popped through, and Zen needs a little bit more damage to find the kill, but he will not be able to close it out. Joshi rotating over, but will be too late to try and get to this fight.
You gotta hit those. Dame has the Sonic Boom and is not charging it up just yet. With the stun, sometimes I do that too, where you just you overshoot it a little bit, you know the CC's there, and it's just not gonna be enough to confirm. Dragon is here as well, though this could definitely be an engage.
Same goes in, does find two of the Sonic Boom, but Dragon also goes in, finds Oceans, but Oceans using the minions to hold out. Oceans separating himself, jukes away from the jump. One more hit is needed by Sada, but he can't find it. Instead, it's Hydrogen going down, and Elion should go right down after Dame and Zen. Pick up the first 2 kills of the game for the Storm.
There's no way that no one on the Storm dies there, man. Oceans was able to juke the jump from Dragon and then just like sort of walked away, and Sada was like, I can't chase this anymore, so I'm just going to give up here. And Leon was trying to find the end kill there as well. Just too much overcommitted. Beautiful Sonic Boom from Dame. The setup was perfect. I think Oceans, more so the route from Oceans sets up the double Sonic Boom. Leon jumps over at the last second, but still, great gank there. Dragon was there. The jungle was there. It just wasn't enough damage. I think chose the wrong target. Putting all of your damage into Oceans did not pay off. You want that poison to spread when you find a gank like that. Didn't work out, and now the Storm get 2 kills and spread evenly between your ADC and your jungle. That gold bounty is going to be going a long way here.
Joshi goes up into the house, throws some damage to Trip. No, will need all 4 bolts if he wants a chance to get the kill, but not quite enough damage online yet for this Baba Yaga, so Tripno will get to survive this engagement, at least for now. Joshi already stacking up that Charon's coin, couple of stacks of Instanes, similar to last game around. Uzi, though, jumps in place, and that should be a kill up on this solo laner. Uzi does have ult to try and slow them both down. The dash is already gone, but Uzi's fine. Dragon low in mana, maybe not wanting to continue this chase out. Uzi is just walking out.
Yeah, I think Dragon probably could have chased that, as Dame is going to chase down Hydrogen here, and this will be a slow but painful death that In My Zen will get credit for. And I think Dragon didn't have too much mana, but definitely had enough for the last breath if they wanted to try and chase that one down. Probably didn't want to deal with the Kate shenanigans as Uzi just runs around with the Sovereignty HP 5. So it looks like there will be no sort of aggression from the Tanuki. They're just rolling over at the moment. Not a massive gold lead right now. It's not even 1,000 just yet, but 2-0. I don't imagine that Hydrogen is going to be able to sit in this lane much at all. You're 2 levels down.
Sonic Boom, though, does find 2. Elion will zone for a little while so Tripno can get back to the safety tower. Elion does find 1, and it's only Oceans, though, with the pickup of that ultimate. Joshi grabbed by the last breath, thrown into the back line, and with Snatty's rotation, he is good as dead, finally, for the Tanuki. Able to get themselves on the board.
Yeah, and they will be able to extend that gold a little bit closer, about 500 to 400 now. Not too far behind. Again, I think the biggest lead right now is just in that duo lane. You're a level 6 Xibalba, you don't have Transcendence online yet. It's going to be very hard to step up to an Uller. If Zen connects one axe, you're essentially getting half health there, so your farm will not be coming very easily. Dame, though, is looking to try and find this cleaner. You can't go into any walls on that side of the map.
Let's throw down one of the Veils to get some damage and try and fight back, but Snatty doesn't have much left to fight. It's Dame picking up the kill, putting his second one up now. So it's 2 for him and 2 for Zen. Maybe some extra poke here in the mid lane against Elion, but Elion is doing much more to Joshi than Joshi is doing back at him.
Yeah, that's not fair. Xing Chen is just bullying right now. Joshi's just trying to farm up some Charon's coin stacks and clear the way as effectively as possible, but Elion, with this Gauntlet of Thebes and the only kill that his team has in his credit, is able to just poke out as much as possible with that Xing Chen passive as well. Any sort of damage you take, you're just healing up. Right now, though, Dame is able to back up, has the Golden Blade online. I'm expecting that same sort of style of build that we saw Sada go last time. That tier 2 Rage will be built in here. Not critting just yet, but after that will be finished. I imagine much more aggression from this Mercury.
We'll have to see. Was Rage last time around for Sada Dragon as that second item, then immediately to a third item, Deathbringer, and then I want to say it was Wind Demon after, so we'll see if it's the same triple crit from Dame this time around. Oceans finds some good damage in CC up against Tripno, but with no other follow-up, could be instead the death of Oceans. Get hit by last breath, gets picked up by the Xing Chen, thrown against the wall, and straight to the grave. El Leon, once again, credit to the kill. The Sonic Boom only hits El Leon from Dame, but not much more this Mercury can do. Dame's just finding a way out of this fight, and he does manage to find a path to dash out.
Yeah, that ult was not what you want. Just hitting the Xing Chen with Sonic Boom. Zen is going to be aggressed on here by Sad Dragon. No ult available and has to use the beads, but that should be enough to get this Uller to safety. The Tanuki may be looking for a Gold Fury pull here, but given the fact that Snatty made the rotation over, there's a lot of aggression to be had. Uzi's not here. They're not using the 5-man rotation they have, and they're just going back. I really thought a Gold Fury would be pretty free here.
Oh, Uzi's just going to stick around in the upper right side of the jungle. The Greater Scorpion should be stolen away by the Yomi Tanuki, unless Dame can get there in time to try and grab it. He will not. The Yomi Tanuki able to at least pick themselves up an obelisk, so that will get themselves a little bit of extra pressure on the map should they send that Trebuchet out early enough. Gold, 800 in favor of the Xibalba Storm. XP about 1,000 up for themselves. So even despite those last couple of kills going the way of the Tanuki, Xibalba Storm still able to maintain their lead.
Yeah, as long as they're farming effectively. Uzi gets the cage here, though, and Snatty, no wall to get into, and probably will fall down here as well. Dame has to hit one ability or an auto attack, and it looks like the auto will be the way they go for. Sad Dragon makes the rotation over. Uzi doesn't have mana, but plenty of HP.
Yeah, Sada Dragon will find the taunt, but that's about it. Oceans will not find the stun on Tripno. Those minions chasing Oceans out to make sure that he can't go any further up against this mid laner. Tripno has been under a lot of fire this game, but his patience on this new wall has been able to net himself at least some safety in this lane and be able to keep himself from going down too often.
Yeah, under a lot of fire, but also has fire.
Does.
With the fire shards.
Well, would it be fire whenever he's using the mermaid skin?
I guess not. It's more so just like a bubble. As Dame is trying to invade the speed buff here, recognizes Sad Dragon and backs off. It still probably has like a fiery explosion. We'll have to watch out for next time that Tripno does use that ability. But either way, the new wall ult does provide a certain amount of safety whenever you're getting dove upon. You go CC immune, you banish yourself for a bit, and you get to assess the situation. You just get vision on everyone and go, okay, I see the abilities that are coming. I'm going to sit up here for a bit and just figure that out, and then you come back down. But it looks like Oceans gets kissed and ulted again.
Taunts it back, does use the dash to break the monolith and find his way out. So ultimate expended by Sada Dragon, and not much in return for that one. They will be able to stop the Trebuchet on the side of the Tanuki, or at least I should say on the side of the Storm, so that way they won't have to deal with that annoying objective pushing down that mid lane. Joshua will be fine too, and is even starting up towards a second item, maybe some stacking. Book of Thoth could be in the eye of the mid laner.
Yeah, and it looks like Dame is just going for Deathbringer. Like, just from Rage into Deathbringer, that's all he wants right now is as much crit as possible. Elion very far up here with no sort of backup, but putting all of your damage into a Xing Chen, probably not the best option right now, just trying to steal that away. This could be an engage, so both jumps are down.
Jumps are down, the root is good. Dame holding on to his dash, just punching away at Elion. Dashes through him to get away from the ultimate. Now that's expended out of Elion, but the Sonic Boom off the mark. Good stun, and one more Firebolt will be good. Joshi picks up the kill into Elion. It took a lot, though, for the Storm to get that.
Yeah, that's 3 ults down just for the Xing Chen, and a lot was juked there. It looks like no one from the Tanuki looking for a re-engage, though. Sada Dragon a little bit late to the party, doesn't quite have that ultimate available, and without the Circuit ult, I don't think there's too much engage we're looking at here. Uzzy and Snatty having a little brawl, and Uzzy and Snatty are going to not fall. It's just Snatty. Just Snatty's going to fall.
Snatty is sitting here going, guys, again? I can't just have my 1v1, guys. I want to kill this Odin just one time, but every single opportunity that Snatty has had to try and find a pick against Uzzy, Dame has been there to spoil the party. Sada Dragon trying to steal away with his Pyromancer, but not much that a Circuit can do without expending their own body to try and get there and steal it away. So Pyro will go the way of the Storm alongside the kill with Snatty.
Yeah, I think Snatty, like anytime he sees a kill opportunity on Uzzy, just needs to stay close to the wall. I see he's always just in the middle of the lane. Once the cage comes through, he's stuck. And then you just get crit by this Mercury that's 4-0 at the moment and has plenty of stacks on rate. So stick near that wall, send your ult out, and I get you want to get aggressive because right now there's no real pressure you have on the map. If you're the Yomi Tanuki, no one from your team is ahead. In fact, no one is even like net even. When you see that Tripno to Joshi is the closest real level discrepancy there, and that's about it. Obviously, Leon is ahead, 2 credits to the kill, but you're not playing through your Xing Chen. So I understand Snatty wants to get ahead in this lane, push that lead, and then rotate over, but right now with how global Dame has been, showing pressure on the left side of the map, middle and right, unless you got some wards, you can't be looking for those solo kills right now.
Yeah, I mean, Dame has been making a Shrek a marathon, if you even will, across this map. I mean, he got to pick on Elion in the mid lane, immediately rotated over to right, and has gone to right side yet again. Sonic Boom one more time off the mark, but the cage is good by Uzzy to hold Snatty in place. And Snatty should go down for the 4th time. Once again, Dame rotates over and able to help pick up a kill onto the solo laner.
Yeah, that's just free rage stacks in that lane. And now it's time for the Tanuki to try and find some success, try and find some form to get active. Zen gets ulted here, but the beats should be enough to get him out. So no more targeted aggression unless Sada can find the blink, and great ult. Make sure that no one is able to chase there. And the Gold Fury is not being looked at. It's 8-2 right now. The Tanuki are still not forcing that lead anyway.
Yeah, the Tanuki are not able to get much going. I mean, right now they're sitting at 4K down up against the Xibalba Storm. These 8 kills have been able to net so much pressure and so much gold across the map. Add another 500 as Uzzy takes down the tier 1 solo lane tower to continue pushing that lead up. Uzzy has had complete control in this lane, even despite the fact that he's technically losing these 1v1 trade-outs against Snatty. All he needs to do is just buy enough time for somebody to come out and help him out.
I mean, yeah, it's the age-old bait, right? Like, oh no, call an ambulance, but not for me. And then you just drop the cage, and then oh, my Mercury comes over, and it's not a 1v1 anymore. It's a 2v1. I baited you effectively. I used my HP for this. Now we'll see it. Will Zen try to get aggressive onto the level 13? The axe is off the mark, and Sada Dragon's here. No beats for Uller.
Hydrogen eats a lot of poke, and that might deter Zen. Sada cancels the back.
Is he going to get
Zen
baited?
is here, and so is Dame. Dame is charging up that Sonic Boom, and now that, just the sound cue that came from there might have been close enough for Sada Dragon to hear and recognize that there's not much kill pressure left in this lane.
Yeah, I think he, right when he heard the clap, he's like, yo, Hydrogen, there's a Mercury here, we need to leave. And Dame said, I don't care about this gank, I'm here for the Gold Fairy right now. Elion and Sada Dragon are here, and it's already very low.
It's going down quickly. Elion goes in with the ult, picks up 2. Gold Fury is still low. Tanuki do steal that one away thanks to the help of Elion and Sada Dragon. But can the Tanuki find a path out? Elion slowed down. The axe toss, though, just off the mark. The shell from Elion to hold out a little while longer, but he's stunned out by Uzzy, thrown against the wall, and beaten to the grave. Joshi picks up the credit for the kill, and Snatty goes into the wall. We'll find some good poke, and a Sonic Boom misses Tripno once again, off the mark by Dame.
And it looks like they're trying to chase this one down. Uzzy saved the cage, and now Tripno will be able to ult through and stall out some time.
Dame is falling low. Sada Dragon needs one more hit. Will get it thanks to the help of the last breath poison, but Joshi picks up another kill for himself. Snatty, though, able to grab Oceans in the midst of it in the tier 1 tower on a 2-for-2 trade.
Right now it's a 3 versus 3. Tripno very weak here, and actually Snatty's dashing in to stop the back. Hydrogen is just going to answer back with his tier 1 and left. The tier 1 and mid obviously went down, and they stole away the gold fruits. This is a big swing in favor of the Tanuki. They're still like net down in gold, but being able to answer back so much is going to help them out a ton trying to get to that late game. Snatty is chasing down Joshi here.
Joshi probably doesn't want to take this 1v1 up against the Kleena. As you can see, half HP on the mid lane mage. Joshi will be able to find his way back. Book of Thoth was the call by Joshi. He's already fully stacked that thanks to the help of just him doing his natural stacks plus the house. And then to boot, adding a Soul Reaver in the mix, so a lot of damage coming out from this mid laner.
Yeah, Joshy's going to be already swinging, and you'd think 16 minutes into the game is about the time that you'd expect Baba Yaga to start doing some numbers, but with the Book of Thoth and the Soul Reaver and the fully stacked Charons going, we're going to be seeing a lot more from Joshy, I imagine, with these ultimates. Only level 15 at the moment, so not quite ready to upgrade any of these starter items. It's still a relatively early game, only 17 minutes, give or take. No one's really looking at this Fire Giant, but Pyromancer is about to spawn in here, and with the DPS that Dame has and the fact that Oceans and Dame are sitting around this objective, I imagine Pyro will be pulled pretty much right when it spawns.
Zen has rotated over towards the mid lane, so Pyromancer could be on the docket for the Xibalba Storm. It'll be Dame and Uzi to start burning this one away, and with double crit online, that one will go down quickly. Xibalba Storm get the Pyromancer. Can they get the fight after? Snatty dashes away and right into a wall to get away from Uzi. Elion, the only one still here to defend up against the might of the Storm. The objective does go their way.
And it looks like they're not ready to pull this Fire Giant yet. If in my Zen it's on a different character, maybe they feel confident with double crit, but Ullr not going to bring too much objective damage, more so just that auto attack damage and 1v1ing squishies, that sort of thing. Ullr not the best to shred down Fire Giant. It looks like trying to find the gank on Uzi. Finally, he'll get... No, there's no way he dies here, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to say finally he might get some retribution for the ganks he has, but he does up down here. That could be a mistake.
Let's jump in place, slowing down Snatty. Finds the stun under the tower. Snatty cannot tank up any more shots. Dame is here. Sonic Boom will connect on a Saturn Dragon. And just a few more punches after takes down the jungler of the Yomi Tanuki. Snatty tried his best to try and find that kill up against the solo laner. Dame dashes in, gets the beach from Snatty, and will throw a couple of punches up. But now that stealth is there, Dame is just going to play a guessing game until finally Snatty has revealed himself. But Dame gets caught out by the mid laner. It stays a little too long. Trip, no credit to the kill.
And now it looks like this tier 1 tower in left lane is the target for the Storm. They will be able to get it. Hydrogen doesn't have that Rising Jaguar to escape, but it looks like they're not trying to escape. They're trying to go in here. Elion has the blink in.
Doesn't find anybody with the knock-up. Instead, it's up into the sky. Hydrogen is just running away from the damage from Joshy. A lot being pumped out by this Baba Yaga. Trip, no. All that while, we'll push up the mid tier 1 tower. So another tower for tower trade, this time left side T1 for mid T1.
I just want to say it's a crime that Uzi lives there, obviously. This whole thing started because we're like, oh, finally, it looks like Sad Dragon's going to help out. They're going to get a gank onto this Odin. Not going to be the case. Still 0-0-7 is this Odin right now in this lane. And surprisingly, Snatty, despite being ganked so many times, is still relatively even, only a level down, given the fact that it was just so much pressure putting into solo lane. Topping the damage charts as well is this Kleena. Either way, though, as he lives, able to chase down so much, and then Dame thinks he has a free kill in front of him and just chases way too long, gets completely baited by the stealth from Snatty, and Tripno is able to help out and clean up. 1-0 is the mid laner now, actually having a level lead. Joshy's been so active on the map, running around, helping out. Tripno's just been sitting there farming, now 17 to the 16 that is Baba Yaga. Joshy actually ticks over to 17 now, but Fire Giant is being looked at.
Sub 20 fire, maybe just a bait to see who from the Tanuki shows up. It's only Saturn Dragon so far. This could be a turnaround kill, but it is a Circuit, one of the harder gods to truly lock down in this game. Instead, the Storm will back away from taking the fire. They'll grab the Scorpion, find some good CC up against Snatty, and Uzi in the backline in a bit of danger. Elion throws out the ultimate and throws Uzi to the backline, but there was nobody waiting for him. Instead, Uzi will be just fine. He'll walk out, and instead it's a lot of damage by Joshy as he's fighting 3 people with every one of these firebolts.
Yeah, they should not be grouping up in a small corridor against Home Sweet Home. Elion might be the only one in range for a kill, and so much CC that Xingqian will go down. It was a beautiful whirlwind of Rage and Steel to pull the very weak Uzi back, but no one ready to follow up there. And my Zen has to use the Aegis. He's up against 2 here.
He's got to get away. He's going to need some backup. Tripno able to find the kill. Dame tries to go in for one. It does manage to find him. It's a double kill for Tripno, who should go down right after with everybody in tow. Joshy will be the crew on credits at that one. Standoff Dragon comes back into the fight, finds some good damage against Uzi, and it's just a fight in the jungle. Everybody's just wanting to catch some hands this time around. Oceans will go down to Saturn Dragon. I had to make sure that he was actually going to fall there. Joshy will turn some fire back onto Hydrogen, but this one in a 2v1 should go the way of the Yomi Tanuki with a good taunt. That will be the deicide for the Yomi Tanuki.
And now with these HP bars, there's no way they're going to be able to pull a Fire Giant here, so just trying to answer back some form of gold. Right now, the Tanuki have plenty of time, 15 seconds before anyone's even on the map. They need to steal away as much as possible, maybe look for a tower here, but both the Tanuki are just backing. I think they're going to be going for the Oni Fury here, so Fire Giant not going to be on the table just yet with Leon's placement here. I have to imagine he called for the just back as quickly as you can. We're going to go for this Fury. A solid win. It's a solid answer back, but given the way these team fights have gone, the Tanuki, they got to get more off of this Deicide. Just the Oni Fury is not going to be enough.
No, I mean, they were able to mitigate some of the gold lead that the Xibalba Storm had been able to pick up there. Had been sitting around that 2,500 gold mark for the majority of this game. With this Oni Fury, we'll at least be able to close that up to only about 500 separating the two teams. 21 minutes in, 500 gold, and even less than that in XP. Basically negligible at this point, brings us back to a dead even game.
Yeah, we're seeing the members of the Storm are ticking over to level 20, or at least Dame is. The Tanuki also very close. It's really a race right now. Looks like Zen does tick over first, so we'll be able to get that blue stone brooch online. Whereas Hydrogen has a silver branch bow, but still not able to upgrade that cow. We're going to see a lot more DPS coming from these ADCs once those starter items are upgraded. But again, keep your eyes on the ADCs wherever they are. It usually tells you where the rest of the team wants to follow. Zen is on his way over to Fire Giant, and Hydrogen's already here. So Pyromancer definitely going to be looked at here, where Leon is going to be frontlining, trying to find anyone just to get some beads, or maybe just a little bit of setup.
Not enough to commit to the Pyromancer, at least for the Tanuki. That one gets leashed away, and the ward dropped inside the Fire Giant pit. Leon steps up, gets stunned out, gets double stunned, and will leap one time towards the enemy and one time towards his team. Tries to find the pickup, but it's only Oceans, and he won't even get grabbed thanks to his passive. Tripno fires off the ultimate into the backline, double stun once again by Oceans. Staying in the back, finds a few with that Sonic Boom, but not going to find enough damage on the tail end. Instead, Uzi and Oceans jump into the backline to try and zone out, try and find any CC and pick they can. But so far, nobody goes down, especially now with Snatty using his beads.
Yeah, Uzi doesn't have the cage anymore. It looks like Fire Giant could be on the table here, but everyone from the Tanuki is going to have to back up. Just Snatty and Sadragon are here, and so Pyromancer will be looked at. The health bars from the Storm also aren't looking too great, so it will be a full retreat here. There are Oni minions, remember, that need to be defended at the moment. There's even a Trebuchet in right that's going to be wailing away at this Tier 2 tower. That Tier 2 and Lep will certainly go down if not addressed by the Xibalba Storm. That's a big wave. But already the Tanuki are back here, and they're looking for this FG.
Snatty gonna be okay for now. Dame gets hit by the last breath poison. Should go down here. No defense to his name to hold out. So Snatty finds the first pick of the team fight, and the second one goes over to Sadragon, and my Zen goes low. Ocean's also down to about a third HP, gets a nice heal back with his ultimate, with Uzi trying to zone away the other two, hoping that nobody else on his team will fall down. No one will, so it'll just be two for the Yomi Tanuki.
And now it's up to Uzi and Joshi to try and defend this FG, but I don't think anyone is allowed to walk up with Snatty playing zone duty. This Fire Giant will go down slowly, but surely. I don't think anyone, again, from the Storm really feel confident enough to step up here. Some low health bars, but Fire Giant, I don't imagine, is going to be claiming any lives as it finally will go down. So FG goes the way of the Tanuki as Joshi is actually forced into the ultimate. Snatty is being an absolute nuisance in the jungle of the Storm. By himself, there's no one else here. This is just Snatty. No one's even close, but uses the dash pretty early. I don't think Uzi's cage is back up yet, but there's no way they can find a kill onto this clean, and just too much healing and a slow escape, but eventually Snatty will be able to reconnect with the team as they spend some of that gold they just accrued.
Too much sustain from the cleanup more than anything else there. That Soul Eater plus CAD Shield combo to make sure that Snatty stays topped off in every single one of these fights. Even after eating a full combo from Uzi, Snatty was full health walking into that wall. Did manage to steal the red buff away, so that's going to put a little bit of a hurt on Joshi's DPS in these next team fights. But with, I'm essentially just going to call it two towers standing. I mean, I would even say you don't even need a stiff breeze. You could just walk over and just kind of look at the tower.
Yeah, just a blow. That's all you need.
You don't even have, you can just look at the tower and it'll fall down at this point.
Yeah, with some, just look at it aggressively. And it looks like Sadragon will use the Hydra's proc, or no, the Bombus Hammer proc rather, to make sure that one goes down. And now the Siege from the Tanuki are able to try and find something. Zen is looking for any sort of poke to start off this fight, and there's still two Tier 2 towers available in the mid and right. But Tripno and Hydrogen are already pushing down this left side with Snatty able to frontline. You're going to have to split up the members of the Storm. They can't do a just strong 5v5 defense just yet because the Tanuki aren't grouped up yet. They want that Tier 2 and mid first, and I can't imagine Phoenixes are on the table just yet either.
No, for now, just be the Tier 2 in mid that will go down. Yomi Tanuki will now rotate their way over towards the right side of the map. One final tower left standing. That should be an easy 1,500 gold to add to the pockets of the Chaos team. So if you're the Xibalba Storm in this case, your best defense is likely going to be at one of these Phoenixes. Where do you find your success in the Storm to try and hold the Tanuki back?
I think you just have to stall out and wait for someone to get too over-aggressive. You have a lot of ways to try and fight back underneath a Phoenix at the moment, with Uzi's cage locking people in. Of course, if Dame just split pushes, you know, tries to take that 1v1 in mid, if Sad Dragon tries to push, and then a Sonic Boom over the fact, and Joshi is just doing insane amounts of damage as well. So I think right now the Storm are certainly not out. They have plenty of ways to fight back into this game underneath the Phoenix, but a 5v5 in the jungle they don't want to take, so that Primal Fury, I imagine, goes the way of the Tanuki pretty much free. No one's going to step up to that.
Well, Dame does manage to get a serrated edge to start at closing out his build and then working in towards what I imagine will be a Blood Forge for a final pickup. But looking at builds, one item that really does kind of stick out to me is what Joshi has built in his 5th slot there. Staff of Mirrodin, an item we don't see very often. I mean, how do you feel about it on this Baba Yaga pick?
Yeah, if he finishes off with Rod of Tahuti, I think it'll help out. You get full % penetration after the ult. You're going to have a lot more abilities to spam. It really just depends on how much value you can get out of it, as Snatty going to take a lot of damage from Zen. Will have to back off. One ult on the wave should be enough to full heal, though. Yeah, I just think as long as you're using your abilities effectively and Joshi is trying to spam everything after the house, should be enough. It just depends on how much value you can really get out of after the fact. I prefer just full burst, but Joshi's been living through these fights, has a fair bit of CDR already with that pendulum upgrade, so I think it's going to be an interesting pickup.
We'll see how it pans out for Joshi and the rest of the Xibalba Storm as the gold lead continues to climb for the Yomi Tanuki. 6K up to the Chaos team, and they were the ones who were down for the majority of this game. It wasn't until the latter half of this portion where the Yomi Tanuki were finally able to find some kills, find some picks, and be able to start amassing a gold lead for themselves. So Yomi Tanuki with this Fire Giant have only gotten a couple of towers and a Fury so far. Not much to be had from that objective.
Now Fire Giant peters off in 1 and gone, so now there's no more FG. Leon is standing here trying to find any sort of aggression, and it looks like Zen will just throw an axe and back off here. Again, the Fire Giant is gone. You're just setting up for the next FG. You didn't get too much if you're other Tanuki. You have this gold lead, but you can't really force too much. Ozzy does find Snatty in the cage, though.
Snatty in danger. Willie, quite a bit of poke, but does have the shields to get himself on out. And the home sweet home from Josh. He's going to get some damage back up against Sada Dragon, who used the last breath to chase him down. It will be a 1-for-1 trade, though. But losing Joshi is going to be bad for the Storm because now they're going to be fighting without their mid laner versus Sada Dragon. Jungler's fine to take that trade.
Yeah, well, it looks like Fire Giant is about to spawn back in here in about 20 seconds. And the Tanuki, they still have their ADC. They still have plenty of damage with the Storm. They have full health bars here. They're not too afraid to try and go for this. It looks like Elion and Snatty are both just looking around this wall, trying to see if anyone's going to step up a little bit too far. Again, Uzi does not have that cage available just yet, so no form of aggression except for Sonic Boom or maybe an axe from Zen. And it looks like the Tanuki are just going to back off here as the Fire Giant spawns in, and Snatty will stick around, just being a moving ward, letting everyone know that there's no one pulling this FG just yet. Given the fact that these death timers are about 15 seconds, this could very well be an EFG pull.
Fire Giant started 20 seconds till EFG does come back up at least. And it's 4 of the Xibalba Storm grouped around to try and maybe get this one started. Oceans does pull, but there's 3 of the Tanuki standing by. Axe Toss is good, or I should say the stun from Uzi is good. Cage in the background will find 2, but Uzi is very low in the fight. He's going to have to find a jump on out. Elion does pick him up and throws him right back into the carries of the Tanuki. Not quite enough damage, but finally Hydrogen able to find the pick and get the kill up against the carry. Now it's the Xibalba Storm on the run as Oceans finds 2 with the knock-up in the root right after. Oceans was the one in the most trouble right now as he's half HP, but the damage from Joshi, good lord. This mid laner is hitting hard with these potion tosses. Sada Dragon goes into the backline, finds Joshi, and the damage from Snatty is enough to force out the home sweet home with the mid laner.
Yeah, Dame was finding a bunch of damage in the backline, and it looks like he will be able to find the kill on a Sada Dragon as well. So what looked like a complete win for the Tanuki is now starting to change. If Dame can stop backs here, will not be able to. Tripno is still around with 1 HP. One major look over the wall would be able to find that kill, but it looks like Dame looking in the wrong direction, and the Tanuki are able to back up here. It's back to being a 1-for-1 trade, J-Mac. No one feeling confident enough to pull this. Uzi gets picked right as Joshi was about to join the fight, but Dame is able to answer back and find Sada Dragon. Joshi lives with like 1 HP there. Uses both relics, though. So right now, the Tanuki have a pretty easy target, and Hydrogen and Snatty are pulling this FG, but everyone's here. Zen and Oceans already smell this one out.
Fire's down to half, and there's no major secure on the side of the Tanuki. This would be a hell of a coin toss to try and take, especially with Zen and Ocean standing by. Hydrogen going to be able to get away from the damage to Joshi. Elion gets stunned away and has to leap out. And it's 4 versus 4 around the fire. 5th one joining just now. Shortly, at least for the side of the Xibalba Storm. Sada Dragon just comes off of respawn. The Xibalba Storm will start up the Fire Giant. They as well, not the biggest in secure department. Scream comes out from the wall from Snatty, and the ultimate out of Hydrogen to turn off the lights. Uzi in the background finds 2 inside the cage. Hydrogen is falling low, uses the Aegis and the beats to try and live through, but he is falling low, and so is Uzi. He'll go down first, and then Ocean's immediately after. Hydrogen finds a double kill in the fight, but Ocean's able to at least take him down while trading his life. But it's a 3-for-1 trade out, only losing the Hunter on the side of the Tanuki, and the Storm are on the run.
Yeah, the Storm are going to try and retreat here as Zen has as much damage as he can, trying to answer back. Can't find the jump over the wall. Leon's going to chase this one down as well, but remember, Enhanced Fire Giant was not dropped. It seems like the Tanuki are just trying to push as for this mid Phoenix right now. Sonic Boom is available. Dame has the damage to try and defend, and he is just going to launch it down mid lane right now and try and stall as much as possible.
Yeah, he will at least delay the Yomi Tanuki as much as he can, but there is still a minion wave, so they can push right in. Lacking a Hunter, so they're going to rely on the damage of the Assassins to try and take this Phoenix out. Meanwhile, collapsed in now by Zen, finds some good damage with that bladed arrow, but the Phoenix will be the one going down first. Yomi Tanuki finally able to break the base of the Xibalba Storm. Dame does manage to find his blink to get himself out, though.
But Oceans is here. They can try and chase this one down. Look at the health bars of the Tanuki right now. Zen, one good... Yeah, that's all it takes.
Oh, he found it. He finds it in the midst of the mist out there. Sada Dragon down to half HP, and Snatty inside the wall trying to slow down and take down Dame. He will pay for his sins of walking forward, but at least making it a 1-for-1 brings this back over for the Storm.
Yeah, and it looks like Zen isn't trying to chase down anymore. He wants to get the vision off of this Enhanced Fire Giant. It would still be a win for the Storm if they're able to get this, but Tanuki looking very healthy at the moment, not really wanting to leave, not really wanting this Enhanced Fire Giant to slip away from them. They have so much right now. They've climbed back in this game. They've got such a lead for themselves, and the fights have been going pretty well in their favor. That mid Phoenix as well. So Uzi waiting for the aggression and tries to find a cage in the back line.
Does find 2. It's Sada and Hydrogen trapped inside, but it's only Oceans there to find some return damage. Finally, Joshi will join the fight with the home sweet home, and Hydrogen is gone. Joshi credited to the kill. Snatty jumps out of the wall, gets stunned instantly, and dashed away, but it's right into the waiting arms of Oceans and the rest of the team. Sen picks up the kill, and it's now 3 down for the Tanuki, but they've got Tripno coming back in just a moment.
So now the Storm just have to go for Oni Fury here. Well, it looks like what happened to the Tanuki, 10 minutes ago, where they wanted that Fire Giant, they got too many picks, and they say, all right, Oni Fury is just going to be that consolation prize. This time around, though, it's that Enhanced Fire Giant. They have quite some time before Snatty and Hydrogen are going to join the fight. Xibalba Storm need to back right away, have Dame push out these mid waves, and run right for that Enhanced Fire Giant. The Tanuki are already on the way there now.
Dame fully built now with a Blood Forge to cap off his build. So a lot of power, a lot of crit on the side of this Mercury. Uzi standing guard against 3 different players from the Yomi Tanuki. Found a good cage last time with Sada Dragon and Hydrogen caught in the midst, but he gets taunted back by Sada this time. And Uzi will be able to find a leap out. Fire Giant still standing, and finally will be started up by the Xibalba Storm. It's a 4 versus 3 on this side of the map. And their 5th player now joining for the Xibalba Storm. Zen finds some good poke against Sada. Elion finds the ultimate only against Oceans. Fire Giant has not been leased. It's falling low. It's going to be a coin toss between the 2 teams. Who will it go to? It will be the Xibalba Storm, who find the Enhanced Fire Giant. Joshi leaps in, gets the ultimate to land on top of Elion. Sada Dragon gets crit after a couple of Sonic Boom shots, and that will be the first kill of the fight over towards Dame. Now, unfortunately for Elion, has nowhere left to go. He will be taken down. Dame in the back finds the double kill, and Joshi up against Snatty will be able to find an extra little bit for himself. Double kill for Zen.
There's still 2 tier 2 towers to go through, and it looks like they're going to go for the one in mid. I was going to say right and mid. Still, there's no minions either. There's a big fire wave in the middle lane. There's going to be no minions to push through here, but with Enhanced Fire Giant and just Tripno, I don't think that wave is going to be too much for them to deal with.
This is going to be a heck of a push outside for the Xibalba Storm. Tripno is going to have to put on the defense of a lifetime up against 5. This Titan's got a lot of HP to its name. Tripno's got to step up and try and slow this one down, but he does not have enough, and the damage is too high. The Xibalba Storm, who are on the back foot for the last 15 minutes of this game, down 7,000 plus gold, have managed to crawl their way back in and take this set 2-0.
Yeah, it just seemed like they stayed a little bit too late one more time. It was just one time it took for two people to go down. Once you lose both, you're not able to defend that enhanced fire giant, and after that, it was just a complete rock through. Dame finding 2 one-shots essentially off that sonic boom, and then In My Zen also gets a 2 double kills. I was thinking maybe a pentakill for either of them, but with the fact that Dame gets the first kill, I think it goes to him. So it could have been a pentakill if they were able to chase that one down, but Tripno said, I'm not going to help you guys. I'm running back to base. Maybe I'll set up for the defense of a lifetime, but not enough damage there.
No, not able to find the defense over at the Titan, so it will be the Yomi Tanuki falling down 0-2 to the Xibalba Storm. So the sub stepping in, Dame able to at least stand in the place of Magic Feet and help find this team a win here in week number 1 of Phase 2 and keep themselves a little bit higher up on the standings. Remember, there's still going to be plenty of weeks to go through, but every single win that you can find in the early stages is always going to be good for you. And a lot of this game off the pressure of Dame. I will say, though, Dame did miss quite a few sonic booms. I'm going to call him out. As much as I want to praise Dame, he did miss quite a few sonic booms that could have maybe turned fights around, but being able to help out Uzi in the soul lane more than anything at least got his team through that early game.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the highlight here, even though Dame, as you mentioned, missed a few of these ults just constantly in this lane. Uzi was not winning in the 1v1 trades, obviously, up against clean, and not many people do. Uzi was staying just enough to bait anything he could. Just say, hey, I'm going to keep my HP as low as possible, and then Dame comes in and does things like this, where it looks like Uzi's going to die, and he doesn't, and they're able to answer back, stack that rage up, that sort of thing, and then Mercury goes to the back and just, bop, bop, maybe a dash or two. It's just all you want to do on this particular jungler. You want to farm your rage stacks, and then you just find these one-shots in the back line.
So even though he missed a few of them in the early game, those late game sonic booms did start coming in clutch for Dame, able to help lead the charge for his team and move them to a win. 10-5-8 for the Mercury jungle, 7-2 for In My Zen. Josh, are you kind of the target of aggression, at least for the side of the Yomi Tanuki, recognizing what he was able to do in game 1 on the Baba Yaga? Tanuki put a lot of focus on trying to keep the mid laner down. So Josh, even with the 4 deaths to his name, still able to put some strong damage this game, 27,000 to his name. In My Zen, no. Not often that we see the Uller really topping the damage charts, but 34k to his name.
Yeah, but Snatty's still at top damage in the game, even with the new WA. So that Kleena, still, even with the nerfs, as you mentioned, still able to output a ton of DPS. It was just that one time where Snatty stayed a little bit too long in the wall, was able to get rotated on, and then after that, Enhanced Fire Giant goes down again. The Storm were able to claw their way back into this game, finding early aggression, and then they were losing a bit, and then they got that late game aggression. Who cares about mid game? As long as it's all about how you finish.
It's all about at least getting the W at the end of the day, and that's what the Xibalba Storm were able to do here up against the Yomi Tanuki. At least stamp themselves a win in week number 1 of the second phase of the SCC. We'll take a look at the schedule so you can see what you've missed, because if you're just now tuning in, I'm sorry, you've already missed 2 sets of Smite. The Eldritch Hounds with a convincing 2-0 over the Kalin Wardens to start the day. Then the Yomi Tanuki falling down to the Xibalba Storm for our second one. Our third NA SCC set will take place tomorrow morning, so make sure that you're tuning in at 11 a.m. to catch the Anansi Weavers and the Athenian Sages squaring off up against each other.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting already start of week 1, phase 2 of the SCC. That's a mouthful of the NA SCC, we should say. Already 2 2-0s.
Yep, that's going to be the end of our day, at least for the esports side of it. Unfortunately, we've only got 2 SCC sets to show for you today, but make sure that you stick around, because in about an hour, we're going to have the new patch notes for 9.6, so make sure to tune around for then. Until then, though, that's been all of us from here, from myself, Charlie Production, everyone behind the scenes. Thank you so much for tuning in to the SCC. We'll see you tomorrow with some more esports action.